Hello, everyone. This week, instead of talking about Brightspace, I thought I'd talk about this idea of learning how to learn. And I'm going to with you. I took a course called, I think it was called Learning How to Learn from Coursera. And I took it because I thought it wouldn't be any good. So I was on this thing where I would register for these free online classes in some subject that I didn't think I would like. And I took this class, and it turns out I did like it. I thought it was going to be like an infomercial, but it was run by a linguist who turned herself into an engineer and a neuroscientist. So that gives you a little bit of background about where this is coming from. And these I have found really useful over time. Some of these things I kind of consciously recognized that I was doing them, and some of them I wasn't doing at all. And so it helped me learn. So the first one is to use recall. And the people that taught this course stressed kind of two types of learning. One is just learning facts and things like that, learning about, let's just say, the evidence for the superior-whorf hypothesis, that sort of thing. And then the other is, and that's called focused learning, and the other is more diffuse learning, where you're taking ideas, different things that you've learned, and you're putting them together in a new way. But when you use recall, you're really doing focused learning. And recall is just, reminding yourself of what you just read or what you just saw in order to consolidate it in your brain. I think we've all read a book or a chapter or something, and then we try to tell somebody what was in it, and we can't because we didn't really read with the intent to learn. So kind of like reading with intent is a good way to learn stuff. Read a paragraph and then kind of summarize it in your mind. And then you can test yourself. Did I really learn that? So quizzes, they're not just a means to get a grade. They're actually a good way to learn the sort of focused learning, to learn facts and things like that. The next one is a little bit, you'd have to take the course, but to chunk out your problems. That is to kind of create a module in your brain where you understand a subject really well because you have practiced it so much. So let's take the superior-whorf hypothesis thing again. You've got the main idea, and then you've got 3 or 4 bits of evidence, and you've chunked it out in your brain, and you can explain it to somebody easily and clearly. And the next one is to space out your repetition. It's not always easy to do this because we don't always necessarily have time to, work on something every single day. But if you have a little bit of free time, while you're waiting in line to do something, you can kind of practice. Now, what was the evidence for the superior-whorf hypothesis? Or what are the, 4 primate traits? And instead of doing it, just sporadically, try to do it over and over and over again for whatever class that you have. And number 5 is probably my favorite, is to take breaks. I think there's a sort of diminishing returns to focusing for too long. And sometimes you just need to get off the computer, go outside, get some fresh air, some vitamin D, and sometimes, or just talk to somebody, text somebody, and sometimes that can kind of refresh and reset your mind. Okay, so let's look at this next one. This is kind of nice to think of a kind of simple analogy or metaphor for whatever that you're learning. Someone in the class, she was talking about teaching her kids the capitals, state capitals, and apparently the capital of Montana is Helena. And so I think she did something like, it looks like a mom and her name is Helen, and there's her son Idaho, or something like that. But anyway, it worked for her at the time. And you can kind of use these sort of visual tricks to help you retain information. Okay, the next one is to focus, right? So we definitely need to take breaks, but you don't want to have a whole lot of distractions. And this doesn't mean like you have to lock yourself in a cell all day and not come out. It just means that you can set a time for when you're going to work. And I even set timers if I can remember to do that. And say, okay, especially if I really don't want to do something, say, I'm going to do this for 10 minutes, 10 minutes, sometimes for 2 minutes, right? And I figure like I can do something for 10 minutes, sure. And so I do that, and then I can take a break. I can reward myself with something, usually something small like a cup of coffee, something like that. Yeah. So that's focusing. The next one is good. I have trouble with this. Eat your frogs first. I always want to go to the fun stuff. I never want to do like the grading. I just there's other things that about teaching that are a lot more fun than that. But you have to do it, right? So if you decide, hey, I'm going to do it in the morning and then I can kind of relax and do the more fun stuff later on, it really helps your day go a lot better. The next one is it's called make a mental contrast, but really is, thinking about where you want to be. Thinking about what your goal is. So my goal is to get my Spanish certificate by the end of this semester, and I want that. I don't know why I want it, but I do. And so I remind myself when I don't want to do my Spanish homework that's what I want. I also want to be able to speak and write to native Spanish speakers. And then finally, this one's mine, is listen to other people. I think we'll probably all have trouble with this, where we kind of have a knee-jerk reaction like, that's wrong, that can't be right. But sometimes it's good to sort of suspend that kind of reaction where, you already have the answer in mind. And to give the author the benefit of the doubt that they've thought deeply about a subject or they've researched a subject. It's okay to disagree with them, but I think it's really useful to hear them out before beginning your mental argument or your actual argument. Okay, so that's kind of where I'm coming from, and that's kind of how I like to learn. Especially to practice recall and to tell other people, this is especially useful, what I just learned, and that helps me consolidate it in my brain. And then secondly, to set a timer, right? So I can focus for some time, and then also to take breaks. For just mental well-being, but also during those breaks you can kind of bring those ideas together, maybe to your own experience with something that you learned in class, bring them together to create something new. Okay, I'm going to stop talking now. I hope you got something out of this. Have a good day and happy learning. Bye now.